Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us today in the Securing Connected Vehicle session. This session is going to be divided into two separate parts. The first part, we're going to cover the market trends. We will explain what a connected vehicle is, go over the different functionality within the vehicle that talks to one another and communicate with the cloud, and go over the risk and probability of hacking a connected vehicle. In the second part of this session, we will go over the joint offering between Palo Alto Network and GuardKnox, and we will provide you with a strategy on starting the project of securing your connected vehicle. I am very lucky to host today two very seasoned speakers on that topic. Didi from Palo Alto Network, who is the product marketing responsible for the automotive industry, and Moshe, who is the CEO of GuardKnox Cyber Technologies. Moshe, can you share with us how you identified the problem and the need for in-vehicle cybersecurity?
Well, our team is coming from defense aviation, and in airplanes, we all got used to the fact that our fighter jets are protected against cyber attacks. So we were thinking that understanding that a connected car is a trend that is coming, the challenges might be the same. So we've started thinking about that, and then Charlie, Valasek, and Chris just did the market for us. And then from that point, it's quite history. GuardKnox was founded in 2015. Since then, we've started working together. And then we've brought very innovative solutions that are coming from moving platforms. Most of them are patent already. So, and we are excited to be here to do a partnership with Palo Alto.
Let's start by defining some basic terms. What is exactly a connected vehicle?
So a connected vehicle in this new era would be everything that is connected from the car to the internet and will make a connection, a secure connection between the internet and the cloud, and that will be used for all type of entertainment, but also for all type of data analytics.
If you think about a connected vehicle and you think about smartphone of today, I think that if Alexander Graham Bell came out of his grave and saw what we call the phone today, he would probably die again. This is not a phone. This is a complete computer that is connected every time, everywhere, between people. That's the trend that a connected car is going. And with this trend comes a challenge of cybersecurity from the fact that a car is connected from a lot of angles.
What had influenced and driven the market to move to a fully connected car?
So what we have been seeing is that the customer are spending so much time during their journey in the car. They need more entertainment towards in the car itself. And one of those drivers are customization of applications that they are aware of or needed. For example, Spotify in the car, but also reading your email or do your work in the car. These are drivers for the connected car. Not that only, the second thing that we see is happening for the OEM and the manufacturer itself, for example, to the repair shop. Repairing cars, if you already upfront know what part will break down or what part should be reused, you already can make the appointment at the repair shop and the car can be planned for its repair.
Well, I really like your question, Corinne, because we're playing with the word drivers. They're trends and the drivers themselves as customers. What we see today in the industry that OEM are looking for customizations of the vehicle through its lifetime, which means drivers themselves are looking for the car to be updated and towards their different needs that are coming toward the lifetime of the car. For example, to have different accessories connected to the car or different capabilities that can be downloaded as a software upgrade to the vehicle. And by doing that, you have to have the ability to do that in a secure manner.
With a connected car, we of course are introducing another attack vector.
Sure. Sure. And the attack vector comes from the fact that in one hand, the driver himself is downloading different applications, and the fact the car is transmitting to the OEM data center, for example, performances, because the road is the biggest lab for the OEM, and the fact that they can do, as you mentioned, Didi, predictive maintenance, getting readouts of the car.
Yep.
How would you define the connected car market today in terms of magnitude, and what would be your prediction for future growth?
Well, today we have 1.2 billion vehicles moving on our roads globally, and since 2003, every car has the ability to be connected physically or in a remote way. But the trend is that we find more and more vehicles that are connected, in some cases, in 4 different places. So we will see around between 40 to 50% of the annual market being connected vehicles in 2020, and then the 5 years afterwards would probably get to around 90%. So we are going to see almost every vehicle in the road, specifically new ones, that will be connected.
Yeah. So looking at that, Moshe, the car will also generate a lot of data. And the data will be used by OEMs for different products. It can be used for making the car better, making the engine better. It can use to analyze what the consumer needs. So all that data needs to be transferred in a secure way to the cloud.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Didi. The amount of the data that car manufacturers in an hour is measured by gigabytes. So we will not be able to send every bit from the vehicle. So we need to be able to have edge computing and the ability to process data on the premises from one hand. On the other hand, we have to mitigate the requirements for privacy, which means we're not going to send private data to others. So the challenge for dealing with a connected vehicle is pretty much becoming like dealing with a computer, but the major issue here that we are having our families and our loved ones in this vehicle.
Yeah. You know, the connected car is all about safety and security.
Sure.
So like you will protect your own home, you have to protect the car itself.
Absolutely.
The term connected car indicates that some kind of communication needs to happen between the different functions, both in the car and to the cloud. Could you explain more about all of those different applications and how they work with one another?
Sure. Let's think about a vehicle, the modern vehicle of today. It comprises of around 100 to 150 different automotive computers, which generate a lot of data and a lot of communication between those computers in order to function. Now, we have a lot of places that a modern car is connected. For example, the remote keyless entry, smartphones, in some cases just the fob, or in other cases, for example, the sensors, the vehicle, the radars, the lidars, or telematic units, or even different communication from the car outside to get an update, to get an over-the-air update from the OEM, and to download different applications, which eventually needed to end in some place.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why the secure channel and cloud security is very important for the connected vehicle.
Sure, and I think the fact that we are covering those 3 bases, the in-car vehicle security, and the fact that we are providing a secure, encrypted, and authenticated channel, one that can be trusted, and the one that provides full security in the cloud, well, that's probably a home run.
Yep.
To all of you, our viewers, just a quick reminder that you can ask us questions. So if you look at your console, there is a place for you to ask questions in writing, and we will address all of them through the session and at the end of it. Up till now, we covered the market size, the potential for growth, different functions within the connected car and how they work together. Moshe and Didi, could you share with me what you see as the biggest threats moving forward?
So, like we are used to what we have seen now with ransomware, like WannaCry, and malicious vulnerabilities, it can happen also in the car, because the car is connected to the internet and introducing an attack factor over there. So, what will happen if you wake up and you want to start your car and you see ransomware and please send us so many bitcoins to an address? That is what we want to try to protect. Another stuff is what happens if you are driving your car and your car is accessible from the outside world and somebody tries to put down your brakes. Moshe.
Yeah, if you think 20 or 30, 20 or 30 years ago, when computers didn't have firewalls, then everyone just could penetrate to your computer and play with your software, with your applications. But then you just might lose some data, you might lose, I don't know, some software that you've downloaded. But here we're talking about our family and our loved ones' lives. Because if you look at a car is the smallest area in the world where all our loved ones are gathered. So having said that, the incentives are in many other angles. For example, for a fleet manager, if someone, as just you said, Didi, is just stopping the fleet from acting, then he's going to lose a lot of money every single day that fleet doesn't generate revenues. On the other hand, some kids that sits somewhere and trying to connect to a car wherever he is through the cellular network, then he could take control on the steering, on brakes, on the throttle, then just for fun throw someone's car to the ditch. And of course, the ability when cars are connected through the OEM, think about the risk that an OEM would feel if someone just hacked the vehicle and then published the video all over YouTube, for example.
So I know that myself personally, and probably a lot of our audience, have watched many movies like Fast and Furious where fleets of cars are being manipulated remotely for different reasons. If it's for terror attacks, for clearing a street for a race, and any other use cases. Could you share with us what are the real risk and probability of them happening with car hacking today?
I think that the most risky thing is the fact that cybersecurity in vehicle are heavily connected to safety, because eventually car manufacturers for the last century were manufacturing vehicles to be safe, and this is what was their first priority. Now the fact that a car is connected to the internet, we're bringing another attack vector, which is the internet, and it can come with various vectors, even from the tires, for example, because the tire pressure is reported through a Bluetooth, for example. Then we have the vehicle-to-vehicle communication, because when we are heading into a semi-autonomous vehicles or to autonomous vehicles, those cars are going to talk one to another. And there's another communication, not only from the car to the OEM, then but the car to another car, and of course a car to the infrastructure. Cars are going to start talking to traffic lights and to other city infrastructure as well. Just think about charging an electrical vehicle, for example. We're going to talk. There's going to be conversation, so to speak, between a vehicle to the grid, and then eventually there are business processes and of course private data that we all know that are stored inside computers today and will be stored in the vehicle.
Yeah, and the data has to move somewhere, and the clouds will be playing a big role in this setup for transferring the data towards the endpoints.
Thank you. This is the best segue to part 2, when we will start talking about the joint offering and provide our audience with a strategy on how to start their project to secure a connected vehicle. So based on both of your experience and all of the projects that you have run in the past, what is the best way to start? Where should they focus?
A lot of our automotive customers are on a journey, and one of those journey includes their journey into the cloud. So if you are looking at your workloads or the data that you are gathering and you want to process in the cloud, or you want to give access to third parties through the cloud, it's evident that you should protect your cloud as your own private data center. And from saying that, all the traffic that is in the cloud should be inspected with deep package inspection. And that's where we play with a firewall as a service or with a virtual firewall in cloud solutions a huge role.
If we're looking at that from the other side, from the car to the cloud, when I'm starting my vehicle in the morning, I would like to get some kind of a view that my car is protected. So in the cars of tomorrow, or in the modern vehicle, that are going to be constantly connected to the cloud, okay, not necessarily to protect the vehicle. Well, a green light that says that my car is updated, protected, and I can grow and I can drive it, no problems whatsoever, is essential. In order to have that, and in order to have the ability to have a constant secured communication from one end, and a fully secured in-vehicle solution that is not dependent on updates, we have to have an overall solution that looks on the three parts of the automotive market, which means the in-car security, then the secure channel, and eventually, which is very important, the ability to have everything that is secured in the cloud. Not only that, but every data that sent from the vehicle to the cloud, I think that is
crucial, and encryption plays a huge role in that.
Moshe and Didi both, thank you very much for sharing all of those great tips and insight into the best way to start a connected car project. Let's move forward and talk about our joint solution and how we can help our customers and our audience solve those problems that we just covered.
GuardKnox SNO, or Secured Network Orchestrator, is a hardware and a complete software stack device that sits in the vehicle and lock all the communication inside the vehicle, which means every bit in every field, in every message, is scrutinized in real time and checked that it complies a set of rules that we, together with the OEM, have been creating. We're covering three layers. The first layer is a physical separation between networks. The second layer is that we are locking every bit, as I mentioned. And the third one, that we have a very a unique state machine that compares between the state of the network and what the car is really doing, which means that brings fighter jet protection into the automotive world with affordable automotive pricing.
With that said, all the data that is gathered in the car needs to be communicated towards the cloud. So we will set up with our firewall as a service a secure channel based on SSL VPN from the car to the cloud, where the OEM maker can offload their data. We will inspect the data, so your data will be protected against ransomware, malicious activities. And from our firewall as a service proposition, you can move your data to your end destination. That could be to a third-party vendor, that could be to your own private data center, that could be somewhere to another cloud. And based on these two technologies, we are providing you the end-to-end solution.
On top of this secure end-to-end channel, GuardKnox provides the service-oriented architecture, which in its solutions, who acts like platforms, we are having and hosting different applications in a secure manner, which means every application lies in its own compartment. And of course, we are using a hypervisor to protect between different applications, so we can host different operating systems, and on top of them, different capabilities. That provides the ability to the cloud to provide different services to the vehicle or to the driver, and on top of it, the other way around, to send data to the OEM or to a different service provider that requires different data from the car in real time.
Because we are using firewall as a service, scalability is no problem. For the connected car, scalability is essential. If you know how many cars are on the road, want to set up a secure channel and deliver data, scalability is key in this topic.
Based on the information that you just shared with us, the joint offering between the two companies offered an all-inclusive end-to-end solution. What are the benefits to our audience for having that?
In the automotive market, standards are much appreciated. So if when we are providing a standardized solution which complies the safety standards and cybersecurity standards, eventually we're using common criteria which are known in the IT. This is something that we can assure to the customer that the system is secure, not because we're saying so, just because an external lab can say so. And we're using strict methodologies and technologies that Didi just mentioned, the SSL VPN, in order to secure and to encrypt the channel. So eventually a message, and because we are trusting each other, and the GuardKnox solution and the firewall or the firewall of the service from Palo Alto are, so to speak, know each other, then a full trust is made between those two ends, and then we are the firewall itself can inspect the data in more thorough ways.
So, looking at it from a different angle, also a hacker could come to your cloud environment or to your environment and try to find his way to the connected vehicle itself. So by combining these two solutions together will give you as an auto manufacturer the complete holistic overview of your end-to-end security for the connected car.
Not only from the over-the-air update perspective, but from the entire journey of a message in the vehicle and a message from the vehicle outside over the air, eventually to the data center of the OEM.
What is this joint end-to-end offering enables our customers with?
This will help the car manufacturer for one-stop shopping for security, for the connected car, but also into the cloud.
And from the car perspective, when we have full trust between the two ends of the channel, then we have a protected vehicle. Then when the message is sent to the cloud, because of the fact that there is technical trust between those two ends, then message can be encrypted, then decrypted, then analyzed by the firewall. The firewall is a service, and scrutinized when it lands in the cloud. From a services perspective, we understand that eventually the trend is that the modern car will be pretty much look like a smartphone, which means we can download applications. We want to be able to upgrade the car performance. For example, if you take the car to a racetrack and you want to extend your powertrain or do some upgrade to your suspensions, then you can buy and rent applications for a period of time. In order to do that, you have to be able to host those applications and to disseminate them internally in a secure manner. For that, GuardKnox came with its patent service-oriented architecture, and by that we are able to do that internally. But in order to do that in a perfect way, we need a trusted partner that can complete the entire journey of this application or the software that is downloaded to the vehicle. And in that part exactly, Palo Alto Networks is coming.
We covered a lot of content today, highlighting the importance of incorporating cybersecurity into everything that you do and build while creating a connected car. Could you give us a quick summary of the most important key takeaways that our audience needs to have at the end of this session?
As we saw, the automotive market security is divided to three major parts: the in-car vehicle security and channel and the cloud. So from GuardKnox perspective and from this fantastic collaboration perspective, what we think is that we need to have an in-car security, one that is not dependent on updated all the time, one that can secure in real time and eventually protect the life of the passengers that are sitting in this vehicle. And when we're heading into a connected vehicle, to be able to connect in a trusted, encrypted way to the cloud through a secure channel.
Yeah. So from the secure channel to the cloud, security is the most important part. It has to be secure because you cannot jeopardize passengers' life. And that's one of the takeaways that we think is the most important one. Where you are thinking of the connected car, of course, something can go wrong. So you need also to have your incident response ready. If you have failures in the car, to do an over-the-air update, don't have to bring the car back to the repair shop for updates. That will save the OEM maker also money.
Absolutely. It will save time, it will save money, and because we are uploading data from the vehicle to the cloud, eventually they can understand that something might go wrong before it did.
Thank you, Moshe and Didi, for sharing your knowledge with us and give us and the audience all of those great key takeaways on how to start their project to secure connected vehicles. This will end our session today, and we're going to move into the Q&A in a minute. This is a perfect time for you to type in your question for our speakers. And right next to this tab, you can find the Download tab. You can find additional assets and more information in it. Thank you very much for being with us today. Looking forward to your Q&A.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm Jillian Goldberg with GuardKnox, and we are going to go ahead and get started with some live Q&As here with Didi from Palo Alto Networks. So as you're typing in the questions, we'll go ahead and repeat your questions and start answering them. So the first question that we have here is, what standards do you guys see as becoming a factor? This is actually a very interesting question because currently there are no automotive cybersecurity standards. From the GuardKnox perspective, we actually adhere to both cybersecurity and safety standards. So ISO 26262, which is a safety standard, as well as common criteria, or ISO 15408, where we actually certify up to an EAL 5 or 6. So this is the full solution here. In addition, which is quite interesting, is there is a joint ISO SAE working group on trying to identify what are the cybersecurity standards that will be working in the automotive industry. There's a working group, ISO SAE 21434, the Road Vehicle Cybersecurity Engineering, is a really interesting working group working with OEMs, Tier 1s from all over the world, really trying to understand what is the industry moving forward to, and at what point are these standards going to become more and more relevant in the industry. Didi, any input from the Palo Alto Network side?
No, we don't see any standards coming up yet at this moment in the automotive branch, but there are a lot of working groups and frameworks available, as you mentioned.
Great. So the next question that we have here is, how does the joint solution deal with updates? Didi, you want to go ahead and take this one, and then I'll follow up from the GuardKnox side.
Yes. So the joint solution exists of two sides. One side is securing in-car security, and the second thing that we do is setting up a secure channel to offload data or to receive data from out the cloud or your own private data center.
Yes, and from the GuardKnox side, the amazing part about the GuardKnox solution, as Moshe mentioned in the recording, is that we actually do not need to be updated as long as the communication matrix of the vehicle does not get updated. So once we do have updates through our secured channel, we are able to do this. We are also able through our secured channel to have secured data transfer, etc., and for upgrades to the vehicle. The second part of this question was, is this scalable? And the answer here, of course, is absolutely yes. This is a fully scalable solution. Because GuardKnox is a platform within the vehicle, we're able to completely scale this within the vehicle for a number of different applications, as well as our joint solution can fit a number of different market segments as it introduces the full end-to-end solution.
Yes, and on the cloud side, the scalability is available in a horizontally way for your in your data center. If you are utilizing public clouds like AWS, for example, we have a tight integration with Amazon services like Lambda or auto-scaling groups, where a VM series will be scaled as the workload takes up.
Right. Great. So the next question that we have here is, can your joint solution apply to the aftermarket? And yes, from the GuardKnox side, we actually do, because we are both hardware and software, we are a drop-in solution. We apply seamlessly to the aftermarket. A huge market segment for us as well is when you're talking about fleets, even with our large fleets of semi-trucks we have on the road as well. And it's actually an amazing solution for the fleet with the GuardKnox in the vehicle. And then with our secure communication channel through Palo Alto, it enables a full fleet-level visibility, and we're able to get a lot of data and usage from this and the direct connectivity to the cloud. Didi, I know on the Palo Alto side, this whole idea of the fleet as well is really interesting, and there's a lot to talk about from there.
Yes, so this relationship with GuardKnox is bringing two big vendors together to help the automotive industry to secure a safe way to update ECUs or other delivered other services into the car vehicle. So do we have more questions?
Yeah, it looks like another question that we have here is asking what new business and business model is enabled through the partnership. And wow, this is a pretty loaded question we have here because there's a lot of new business and business models here. And one of the biggest ones is the idea of this added connectivity to our vehicles and added personalization, as our vehicles are becoming more and more similar to our smartphones as we're able to customize, download apps, do different things that we want to make our vehicles more closely connected to our needs. And through this partnership, we're actually able to add more connectivity in a secured manner, as well as have a more secure data transfer, which is a huge issue in this market. Is we have so much data that's coming from our vehicles, and how can we make that data useful? And since the GuardKnox solution is a platform for secured onboard data processing as well as storage, we're actually able to send back through the Palo Alto Network secured channel useful and relevant data, and not all of the abundance of data that we currently have. And this is a huge, small segment of this new business model.
Yeah, so bringing us together is what we eventually give to the industry back as an end-to-end secure channel for the automotive industry.
Great, yes.
So I don't see any more questions popping up. So thank you for joining this webinar, and hopefully we got to give you more insight on how Palo Alto Networks and GuardKnox joins forces to secure the automotive industry for connected cars. Thank you.
Thank you.